guys, Cade here. In this week's video, what we're going to talk about is the value of having a distributed team. And so I'm going to do the value of a distributed team for an actual company. So what's the benefit for your business of considering having a distributed team, or in other words, a remote team, or at least a handful of remote employees. Every business is different based on size and your needs and the services you offer. But I'm going to talk about the value for a company to have a distributed team. And then in a follow-up video, I'll talk about the value of having a distributed team or being a remote worker for an actual employee. But in this week's video, I want to talk about the value of building a distributed team or distributed culture for your specific company. The first thing is employee happiness and overall morale. So not to get into too many details, but Primitive is a little over 8 years old. And when we first started out, everyone was local. We were all in an office, physically located, like most businesses are. And it was great. There's no problems with it per se. But we have that experience. Then along the way, about 2.5 years ago, we decided that we were going to start hiring remote employees as well. And going through that journey and going through that process of beginning to hire remote employees has given us a unique perspective, because we've both had, only physically located employees in an actual office, and now we have a fully distributed company. Even our employees in Lubbock work remote a good deal of the time. And so we have the unique perspective of now having a fully distributed team with almost 60 employees. And I can say definitively from our own experience, and even in the research that we've done on building a remote company and building a remote team, is that employees tend to be dramatically happier, and the morale of the team in general is higher when you allow people to work remotely. And so this is one of the greatest benefits for a company in general when you have a distributed team, is that the happiness and the morale of your team is going to be higher when you allow them to work remotely, even if it's only some of the time. The second benefit to the actual company of having a distributed team is increased productivity. And I notice this even in my own work when I work from home compared to when I come into the office, that my productivity when I work remotely is so much higher. And it's really just a practical thing. You have less kind of organic interruptions. You're not in a car, even if it's for only 15 to 20 minutes to your office. That's 15 to 20 minutes to your office. It's 15 to 20 minutes away from your office. And so you have decreased wasted time. You tend, when you work remotely, to eat at home, and it takes 15 or 20 minutes to eat. Again, versus like going out to lunch, 15 to 20 minutes at lunch, 30, 45 minutes at lunch, 15 to 20 minutes back from lunch. Again, it's all about time. And when you work remotely, you increase productivity. And so for a company with a distributed team, what you typically end up getting is increased productivity because of some of those very practical things in terms of the difference between being physically located in an office and working remotely. The third major benefit for a company having a distributed team is your talent pool. One of the biggest blessings for our company, one of the greatest assets for our company, when we went from only hiring locally to literally the whole country being our talent pool, is that our ability to recruit the absolute best people increased dramatically. And so you may have a business where the same would be true. That if there are certain roles within your company that are typically difficult to find on a local level, if that's your case, you would be amazed at the talent that you can find when all of a sudden your kind of territory, so to speak, is all 50 states instead of just Lubbock. And that isn't to say that whether you're in Lubbock or whether you're in some other city, you shouldn't try to hire locally and look for those people there. You should do that. We do that. But you aren't limited just to where your business is. And that's a tremendous value. The last thing that I would say is a huge benefit, and again, this is very practical, but a huge benefit to the company itself is decreased office expenses. Our company has roughly 60 employees, and if we had all 60 employees in Lubbock all the time in our office, the expenses of that are going to dramatically be higher than they are now. First of all, we would need more space. I don't think 60 employees would work in our building, so therefore we would need a bigger building. And then all the practical things of having a large office and a lot of employees in there would also increase. So again, I know that's a practical thing, But when you look at being, a healthy business, not just from a culture standpoint and a talent standpoint, but also a financial standpoint, having a distributed team can even bring practical, positive things in that way as well. So I love this idea of a distributed team. I love having a remote team. It's really, particularly in our region where we're located, is kind of an odd thing still. I think people are still working through it. And if that's you, I'd love to talk to you more about it, because we wouldn't do anything different. We're fully committed to having a distributed team. And not only does it help our company, it helps our employees, it also helps our customers, because we're bringing them the very best talent to serve them, which is a great thing for them. So thanks for listening.